And I get the impression that this is just who you have always been. This is who you are. Is this how you've always been now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
It actually happened. I remember I think it was 1989. I say I remembered, I'm not sure if it was 88 or 89. Um, but I had a staff person. She's a wonderful elder woman named Erna, and she was a massage therapist, really focusing on foot reflexology. And to this day, I've never had foot reflexology like Erna. She was just the best. And she also was a colonic therapist and kind of a big boned German gal in her 70s at the time. Yeah, yeah, we clean you up. Yeah. And his patient's like, whoa, okay, okay. But then she'd be so happy when toxins start flowing in the colonic procedure. And people would just be engaged in her energy. It was really wonderful. And her husband was the exact opposite, kind of this maybe 5'2" guy, thin framed, who was a janitor in the local elementary school. And just a wonderful, wonderful man. And all the kids would say, "Hi, Ray. Hi, Ray." I was told, I was never at their school, but the kids were always saying hi to him because he just generated this wonderful energy. And I'd see him at our staff Christmas parties, and things like that. And I'd say, "Ray, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good, Doc. Good, 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 good. Why don't you come in? Let's just do a blood test to look for any risk for heart disease," because he had the creases in his ears. And for those that don't know, if you've got creases in the earlobe of your ears, in my library, I've got 13 studies on the direct correlation with cardiovascular disease. And he had deep creases. I said, "Ray, could we just do Oh, my doctor says I'm good. My cholesterol's not so bad. I'm on a statin drug and my cholesterol's good. He says I'm fine." I said, "Okay, I understand. But, there's some other tests that we could do that would be helpful." And I had that conversation with him maybe twice a year for 3 years, 4 years. I'd see a Christmas party and some other party or something. And then one day he came in the office and said, "Doc, let's do that blood test." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I drew his blood that day. And I was really busy that day, but I saw him in the hall going between treatment rooms. I said, "Okay, good." And I ordered the test to have it done. And Ray left and he pulled over on his way home and he died. He died. And he must have had some chest pain. He must have had some fear. So he wanted to do the blood test. And I said, after that, I said, "Never again. Never again." I stopped being mealy mouthed with people. "Oh, I can't afford it." I stopped being mealy mouthed. And when a patient says to me, "Oh, I can't afford that test," I said, "Really?" He said, "No, I just can't afford it." "Okay, okay." And I write in the file, "Patient refuses to do," and I write the name of the test because of finances. And say, would you sign this, please?" And they look at me and say, "What?" I said, "Well, I just want you to acknowledge that you've said no to this test for finances because you're asking me to work with one hand behind my back. And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, but I'm not responsible if something happens to you because I didn't have the information, because I suspect this is the direction we should be going in, which is why I want to do the test. But I'm not responsible if you say no." "No, okay, okay, I'll do the test." "Good, do the test." And when they do, I don't do tests like a shotgun. "Well, let's see if you have this or let's see if you have that." I recommend tests where I'm pretty certain we're going to get some not good results, which then we can work with to change, right? And so I don't put up with that anymore. I don't say, "Well, okay, bow down. Please sign this." And if they sign it, then I'll do my best with them. But there's clarity. And because after Ray, this beautiful man, never again,
Never
never.
again. And I see this in a lot of people, but then I've been working with trauma, and so I can recognize avoidance as a trauma pattern.
Oh my
And this
goodness.
actually comes from the trauma response of the body. We have 5 steps. I lay that out in chapter 1 of my book. And the first time that we get startled like something might be wrong, many of us are programmed from our previous experiences to not look at the problem. We are afraid to look at the problem, Dr. Tom. Is this what's going on? Do you think that this is what's going on? We are actually afraid to look at the problem?
Oh, absolutely. And I call it the I'm fine syndrome. I'm fine. I'm fine. And, they throw
You're
this
not
into their,
fine.
well, they're not at all, but they put that up in the front of their consciousness, and the example that I'm really focusing on a lot these days are people of childbearing age, men and women of childbearing age. And well, why would you do that? Just look at the numbers today. 77%. This is from the Department of Defense. 77% of those of age, 77% of those of age are ineligible to join the armed forces. They don't qualify. 77% of our country of age don't qualify. It's either obesity or cognitive decline, lack of education. They can't think. Wait, what? What? 77%. When I came into practice, Valentine's Day, 1980, I'm kind of an old guy.
That was even before I was born, Dr. Tom.
I know. When I came into practice, autism was 1 child in 10,000. Seriously. Now, the new statistics from the Center for Disease Control, 1 child in 34. And that's the national average. When you do it by state, in California, it's 1 boy in 12 by the age of 4 is diagnosed on the autism spectrum. 1 in 12. Wake up. People need to wake up. 77% of those between the ages of, 17 and 25 are ineligible to join the armed forces. You can't be in the Navy or the Army or the Marines. You can't. You don't qualify to even apply. 1 boy in 12 in California, 1 in 34 nationwide are on the autism spectrum. Wake up. Our brains are not developing now the way they were 50 years ago. Mom and dad are so toxic when they fertilize an egg that if it's successfully implanted into the uterus, then does it grow or do you miscarry? That's the first step. And if it grows, what percentage of their genetic potential, meaning their DNA that they got from mom and from dad, which is nothing more than the blueprint of how to build the system. DNA is just a blueprint, right? So think of this. At a fertility center, when they check men for glyphosate levels in their blood, 74% of the men have glyphosate levels in their blood. Okay, so what? If they have glyphosate levels in the blood, the glyphosate level is 300% higher. That's fourfold, 300% higher glyphosate levels in the semen. In the semen, that means, and glyphosate causes what's called oxidative damage. I don't want to get all geeky on you, so here's how you think about oxidative damage. And our friend, Dr. Jeff Bland, came up with this in 1986. Jeff was so far ahead of his time. It takes 976,000 mousetraps to fill up a football field laid side by side. And he figured it out. He measured a mousetrap. He knew the measurements of a football field. 976,000 mousetraps. Cock each mousetrap Put a ping pong ball gently on each mousetrap. Now you have 976,000 mousetraps cocked with ping pong balls on them. It looks like snow. It's all white out there on the football field. Walk along the sidelines with one ping pong ball. Throw the ping pong ball out onto the football field. It hits one mousetrap, pop. Now there's two ping pong balls in the air. The one you threw out there and the one that was on the mousetrap that just popped. They hit two mousetraps, pop, pop. Now there's four, pop, pop, pop. 8, pop, 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 pop. 16, and you have what's called a cascade reaction. That's what happens when you have radiation exposure, when you fly, pop, 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 pop. When you drink Coca-Cola, pop, 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 pop. When you eat deep fried foods, bad fats, pop, 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 is going on your body. That's called oxidative damage. Glyphosate causes oxidative damage, pop, 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 that's going on in the testicles, which damages your DNA in the sperm. If that damaged DNA now fertilizes an egg, there is a 40% increase in miscarriages when dad has damaged sperm. 40% increase. It's not the woman body that's acting up, it's the man's 40% of the time. And the new science coming out is showing us that the brain, if there was oxidative damage sperm or oxidative damage to the egg, then baby's brain development in utero is completely off. Their brain doesn't develop to whatever its genetic potential is. And you never know. You have a healthy pregnancy, you have a healthy delivery, the baby's beautiful, everybody's goo-goo-eyed. But at the age of 4, there's something wrong with your child. And now you're diagnosed with autism. One boy in 12 in California, autism. But he was healthy at age 1 and age 2 and age 3, but the brain never developed properly because dad had high glyphosate levels in his semen, which fertilized the egg, which caused that baby, that fetus, to develop in utero, not to its genetic potential. So the wires, the nerves that connect the brain together, never developed to their genetic potential. And people don't want to listen to this. They don't want to hear that. They avoid. So now I'm just laying it out straight. So any of you of childbearing age, when you hear this, if you don't look into this a little further to see if I'm a nutcase or not, if you don't check for yourself, then you get married, you get pregnant, you have a baby, but all of a sudden at 5 years old or 6 years old, so you're talking 6, 7 years from now, your son is diagnosed with autism, which is a lifetime of grief for the family. A lifetime of grief because you didn't do the simple tests to find out if you've got excessive oxidative damage before you got pregnant. Wake up.
So let me add some fuel to this fire, because now you take that same body and you say, we're going to mix in a little bit of stored trauma. Let's mix in some fear, living in anxiety, living in insecurity. Let's mix in those unresolved experiences that you've had in your lifetime that just were too uncomfortable for you to feel at that time. So you stuffed it down and you've been coping, but that is creating more oxidative damage. I feel like that has been one of the clear contributions that I've been able to make to the science of trauma, is that the mechanism by which adverse childhood experiences become adult diseases is centrally focused on oxidative damage.
Yeah.
This effect that you're talking about, where it starts accumulating and it starts popping. And we can see that happens over time, where when you're in your teenage years and maybe you had adverse childhood experiences, but as a teenager, you're doing okay, you're functioning okay. So you think. And then you get into your 20s and you're adding, bad relationships and unhealthy coping mechanisms, and all of these other things that you're doing because of your stored trauma, not wanting to actually process and feel and grieve and heal and all of those things. You're building so much oxidative damage, and at the same time, you're shutting down your detoxification pathways. the very pathways that could help you, you're shutting those down by living in fear, by living in anxiety.
What
And
people
so,
what people don't know, and you don't have to read all this stuff. Read Dr. Amy's book, and you'll get a lot of great information. But the oxidative damage, pop, 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 that occurs from radiation exposure. Everybody knows too many X-rays are bad for you, or too many MRIs are bad for you. Everybody knows that, or too much radiation outside, too much sun, maybe is associated with skin cancer. And well, the the solar flares on the sun. If you ever watch a National Geographic special, they're atomic bombs. They're going off like this all the time, literally. And you see the videos on National Geographic, it's jaw-dropping to understand this. And then it's 93 million miles for the radiation from those atomic explosions to get to the Earth. And those solar flares occur in 11-year cycles. At the peak of an 11-year cycle, which was 1 year ago, last November, so we're on the downslope now. At the peak of the 11-year cycle, you fly from New York to Los Angeles, you get the radiation of 7 chest X-rays every time you fly. And when you're at the low end of that 11-year cycle, so that's about 5 years into it, 5.5 years. When you're at the low end, it's 2 to 3 chest X-rays every time you fly. That's why I have so many flight attendants that have reproductive disorders, and so many pilots that have lymphoma. They're sitting in an aluminum box being exposed to radiation all the time, and they're not taking the vitamins that can help minimize the damage. But that kind of radiation damage, most of us can understand something about it. It's like being in the sun, you're told you get skin cancer if you're in the sun too much. Okay. That same type of oxidative damage that occurs from radiation is exactly the oxidative damage that occurs from bad foods, that occurs from excess stress hormones, wearing you out from trauma. It's the same pop, 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 pop. There are so many different ways that we get this oxidative damage, but they cause the same end result, which in this case, what I'm talking about here is DNA damage. And we've got these young 24, 28, 30-year-olds say, oh, I'm fine. I'm working out, I'm bench pressing 240. I'm fine. Just do the test. You just want to do the test. There's a couple of tests that, in my opinion, everyone should do. And you can go to my website to read about the tests, download them, and take that information to your doctor to order the tests. My website is thedr.com, thedoctor.com. The DR, just don't spell the word doctor out. And look at the tests that are called total tox burden, TOX, total tox burden, and oxidative stress profile. Just look at those 2 tests, download the information, take it to your doctor, say, please order these tests. They probably won't, because very few doctors are trained on this. And if they won't, you can order them from my website, and it'll scare the hell out of you when the test results come back, and they're very, very accurate. But hopefully it will encourage you to learn more, to read Dr. Amy's book, read my books, but learn more so that you are preventively making sure that when you have a partner and when you and your partner are ready to start a family, those babies are going to have the best genetic potential possible, whatever that is for them, right? But you aren't going to be with one hand behind your back hoping that you have healthy families.
yes. And I feel that both of our books, Dr. Tom, are ones that if you read them, you will not be able to avoid the problem anymore.
Yeah, but you still can avoid the problem, but you'll know that you're avoiding the problem.
Know that you're avoiding.
Right? I mean, it's always your choice, but now most people can like say, I don't know anything about that. Well, not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore. Now you know. I don't want any more rays in my life. like my staff person's husband. I don't want any more Rays in my life. It's not right. It's not right. Just because I didn't have the guts to be a little more direct and straightforward.
Yep. Yeah, I'm becoming more that way as well. Like I can see so clearly where people are stuck and what the possibilities are that I'm no longer willing to
Yeah.
just play nice. I'm going to say it straight because I know how you could be living your life so much more healthier, happier, and whole. And I feel like the avoidance is a feedback cycle that we get stuck in because if we're avoiding because we've got stored trauma. That would be the reason to avoid and not look at the problem. And
Right.
then that's creating more oxidative damage, which is actually what is creating a bigger problem. Instead, if we can actually find the courage, make it safe to look at the problem and deal with it earlier, my goodness, people can have such a better life earlier. Now, I know that you do a lot of travel. I do a lot of travel. So I've got my like go-to supplements for when I travel and I'm exposed to more radiation. What are you taking when you travel and fly, knowing that you are exposed to more radiation?
Yeah, you'll see on my website, I put them together. It's called the Gluten Sensitivity Packs, the GS Packs. I said, Mrs. Patient, can you take one pack a day? I mean, there's 6 pills in there, but can you take one pack a day? Well, yeah. Well, there's 22 nutrients in there that are all designed to put the fire out. It's called the GS Packs, Gluten Sensitivity Packs, PACKS, Packs. And and for flight attendants, I say, you know what? The safest thing that you can do is have expensive urine to take more vitamins than your body can possibly use. They're not going to harm you in any way, and you have a very healthy, life-threatening career. So I'd much rather you have a little bit of expensive urine protecting you than not enough. But for most people, one pack a day is plenty. And so that's what we use. What do you use?
I have a lot of things. I will say that the top 3, I'll narrow them down to the top 3. Vitamin C. I feel like vitamin C is one of the best for oxidative stress, and it's inexpensive and easy for me to find anywhere. N-acetylcysteine is another go-to for me.
Mm-hmm.
I started using N-acetylcysteine when, as an addiction medicine physician, I was seeing the impact of decreasing brain inflammation as I was detoxing people off of substances. It's
Right.
amazing, as well as amazing for many other reasons. And then I actually have been traveling with injectable NAD. NAD for me really helps my body. It's primarily used for mitochondria to help make more energy, but when my body has more energy, it has more energy to clear out the oxidative stress.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice combinations. Very nice. Yeah. And the way to deal with this for everyone out there, I've been doing this for quite a while. And the one thing that I see that consistently sets people up for success in changing the direction their health is going in is to embrace the paradigm of 1 hour a week that you allocate every Tuesday night after dinner or every Saturday afternoon, whenever it is. But you tell your family, look, for this 1 hour, don't bother me. I'm going to study some more and learn how to be healthier. And you go back to Dr. Amy's book, or you go back to these interviews, or your resource library, and you pick one topic. Like when you learn that phthalates, the chemicals used to mold plastic, are in your plastic food containers, and you store food in those containers. And the next day, the chicken's got phthalates in it. Then you go back to, my book, and I give you 3 URLs for glass storage containers. And you go online to Miles Kimball and Amazon and whatever the third one is, and you look at them and say, well, those are okay. Oh, I like those. And you order the round ones and the square ones and one for the pie, and you pay with your credit card. It took an hour, but you're done for the week. You've successfully stopped the minute amount of poisons you're putting in your family when you eat leftover foods from plastic storage containers, right? And then next week, you tackle the topic of healthy cosmetics or healthy shampoo or healthy dishwashing detergent. You never run the dishwasher during the day when people are in the house. Don't do it. It's not airtight. It's watertight, but it's not airtight. And the toxic chemicals that you're throwing in there with that really hot water steams up, and you open a thing and all this steam comes out that's full of toxic chemicals, right? So first you get non-toxic dishwashing detergent, but second, you run your dishwasher at night when everybody's sleeping and there's no one in the kitchen. And you just start learning all these little things, 1 hour a week. And in 6 months, you see someone that you've not seen in a while, and they go, holy cow, what happened to you? You look like $1 million. Wow, you look great. You look great. So, well, let me tell you, I heard this thing and I read this book and I read these couple of books, and I got glass storage containers, and I've got phthalate-free nail polish, and I've got toxin-free dishwashing detergent and shampoos, and you just go down. I've got houseplants because NASA said houseplants absorb the toxins in the air, and your friend their jaw drops because you're overwhelming them with all the information, like Dr. Amy and I are overwhelming you right now. But you allocated 1 hour a week to this. It's bite-sized pieces that you can then incorporate into your life, and it becomes part of how you live your life when they're in little bite-sized pieces. That's the secret to success. So
baby steps. Don't try to take the mountain all in one step. Baby
right.
steps.
Exactly.
Baby steps actually gets us up the mountain, because it's better to do one thing than to see everything that needs to be done, but not start. Be stuck.
But I'm a guy. I'm a guy, right? And guys don't want to hear about baby steps.
This is true.
You don't want to hear that. But Michael Jordan, if there's any more of a alpha of all alphas than Michael Jordan, when he learned from Phil Jackson, the coach, that teams win championships, individuals can win best player, most valuable player and all that, but he wants championship to be a dynasty. That's teams. And he learned how to work as a team. You need to learn how to work with your body, your habits, your lifestyle, but it's 1 hour a week. And as you were just saying, when I sign books, I do book signings often. I ask the person their name, I write down their name, and then I write down base hits win the ball game. Tom O'Brien. Michael Jordan learned playing with the team wins the ball game, right? Not being the superstar. I want a home run. No, base hits win the ball game. And when you learn that in terms of your health, and you have the patience to apply these principles, in 6 months, you've changed the dynamic of where your body's going. Completely changed it at 1 hour a week.
And I feel that concept right there, base hits win the ball game, is what would help people who have been avoiding be willing to look at it, because I think that they're in the overwhelm of, but then I'd have to do something. And that is overwhelming. I already feel so busy. I already feel overwhelmed with life. Right. And realizing that, no, when you look at the problem, then you just break it down into base hits, because that's how you're going to win the ball game.
Thank you for including that, because baby steps won't do it for guys. For guys, listen, man, base hits win the ball game. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. The guys will get that.
Yeah. Base hits win the ball game. I love that. I've been signing my book as to the next level of feeling, healing, and living.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
For me, that's what it is. That's what opening up this stored trauma is it will open up the next level of living for you, but it's through this next level of feeling and making it safe to feel at a deeper level than what we have been feeling.
Yeah. And that takes work, learning how to do that. And, you and I have talked before about this, that when I have a real difficult problem patient who's tried everything and nothing is working, we always have to go to the emotional or spiritual side and see where, you back out of a driveway and you say, what's wrong with this car? It's moving, but no, the emergency brake, right? And you let go of the emergency brake and then you back up just fine. When people are doing all the best things they can and they're not getting the results that they're hoping for, they've got emergency brakes. And most often, it's the emotional or spiritual side, what your book is about, that is the primary contributor to those emergency brakes, because they're avoiding going into that area.
That's even how I lay it out in my book, is I describe the trauma response as putting on the emergency brake. Your body is putting on the emergency brake. You can have your foot on the gas pedal, but is it going to work? No, because your emergency brake is on. You are in survival mode.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, again, circling back to avoidance, that would be one way to know that you've got some deeper trauma work to do, is if you find yourself wanting or needing to avoid looking at your health and all of the toxins that you are surrounding yourself, exposing yourself to, and saying, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Right. The I'm fine syndrome.
I'm fine syndrome.
Right.
Well, thank you. I guess not just thank you for your time, but thank you for being such a leader in this space and being a person who will speak truth, speak it with love, but you are going to speak the truth.
Yeah. Critically important. Critically important.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. And for everyone out there, Dr. Amy's book is great. It's in an area that very few of us put time. Listen, I was married in my first marriage. My wife was a Jungian analyst. That's Carl Jung. There's Freud and Jung. Jungian analyst. So I have 23 years of that world of the impact when you've got the courage to put your toe in the water of the emotional, spiritual side, an hour a week, just learning a little bit more, the profound changes that can happen. And Dr. Amy's book is designed around introducing you and then guiding you into how to put your toe in the water, and then how to put your foot in the water, and then your ankle, and then your calf, and then your leg, and then your thigh, and just jump in, right? So it's a great book, so please consider it.
Well, and right back at you, I feel like you have written one of the best books on inflammation and the base hits that will win the game for being able to get our brain back, get our energy back, get our life back, because so much of our immune system dictates the quality of our life.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. Where in the world are you today?
Say it again.
Where in the world are you today?
We're Northern Italy.
Northern Italy. And you have a conference in Italy this weekend,
yes,
right?
Yes, this weekend, the Italian Functional Medicine Conference is here. It's the 8th annual. I have been the honorary co-chairman for 5 years now, and we keep growing, which is great. Some of my friends come over from the US or from this one, both from Princeton and from London. They're coming. So we're the English contingent with translators for people. And people are so excited. They've just not heard this information in Europe the way that it's being delivered. And then a week from Tuesday, I fly to Salt Lake City, and I'll have 2 talks in Salt Lake City next week.
Amazing. I will be in Florida, speaking at a conference in Florida and doing my book tour, book signings and all.
Marvelous.
Well, lots of love to you and Marcy. Lots of love to you and Marcy, and take care. I know you'll do amazing talk, but leadership at the conference this weekend, and we'll catch you later.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.